Um, so we're looking at to work with SketchUp. We're looking at completing your plan and your section at the very least, so that we can, and my hope is on Thursday that we can work from those, and I can show you how to build your model. Each of the projects is a little bit different. The let's see, the lounge in Mexico. That's what it's called, the lounge. Anyway, that actually, we won't really need the elevation or the section because it's very simple in section. The yard house, we're going to need both the section and the very simple elevation drawing to really make that work, because there's a lot of intrigue on what's going on in the section. So we'll be extruding or working from section as well as from plan. And then the last one, the hut, that is pretty intricate, as those of you have been working on it. So we need plan section, and we really need one elevation, preferably the south elevation. That would be the one to go for, the south elevation. So I've updated the assignment that said, you know, what we want by Thursday is, let me just show that to you. Go, and that will be come on. And
for SketchUp, we don't need the furniture, right?
No.
Okay.
But you do need all the stuff that's built in, and some of them do have a fair amount of built-in elements. Okay, so student view, scroll down. And let's see, okay. So here it is. So hopefully you'll finish up your plans and sections. They were good. The biggest problem was that they really weren't complete for the most part. Only one student actually had a complete set of drawings. So on top of that, we're asking, as I mentioned, for the yard house, an elevation. It's a really simple elevation, but it'll be helpful when we actually want to execute the SketchUp drawing. So that's not a big deal. The hut at Chemo Estate, the south elevation, which is the main sort of exposed elevation. And for the Tepoztlan Lounge, the site plan. Because the site plan really tells us a lot about the overall organization of the project and how it sits within the site. So those are the additional third drawings beyond plan and section.
Which elevation was on the hut kimono? I'm sorry, I didn't.
It's the south elevation.
The south.
It's not the one that's on the sheet with the plan.
Yeah, I did that already for the other one too.
It's helpful to do as many elevations of that as you can, but you don't have to do them. Okay, so let's leave this. And So what we're going to do today, if there were no CAD questions, is I'm going to do a demonstration of SketchUp. This is basically the more complex maneuvers that we haven't gone over for whatever reason. And so this is, and I'd like you to do this along with me, but this is just going to be like little exercises that we're going to do together to learn how to work with SketchUp and do a few things that we haven't done. The nice thing was the first project we worked on, you know, had an elegance and a simplicity to it. And that made that we only had to learn part of the tool set that comes in SketchUp to make that work. For projects moving forward, including those that you'll be doing in your design studios, you need to learn more of the additional SketchUp tools and maneuvers. So let's get started. And unless there's an objection, I'm going to be using SketchUp for Mac 2017 rather than the SketchUp Pro version. If it's like, so it'll look a little bit different, but it won't make much difference for the things that I'm going to be going over today. Since I'm working off of a Mac, it's just a little bit easier for me to use the Mac version. So let's get that up and okay, and I will start sharing. Okay, share screen. Okay, so everyone should be seeing my SketchUp screen. So you should start SketchUp as well, a new blank drawing. Just okay, so a couple things that I want to establish today, even though we're relying a lot on AutoCAD to have our AutoCAD plans and sections done, you don't need to have everything worked out in AutoCAD in advance. It's an advantage when you're going to have AutoCAD drawings and you have an existing building. And so one of the things I want to show you is that SketchUp can be very precise. It can be just about as precise as CAD if you do the input correctly. So the first maneuver I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a rectangle. I'm going to start at the feet of this guy here. I'm going to click for the beginning of one corner. I'm going to start dragging it. And then instead of just pointing or snapping to a point, I'm going to type just like I would in AutoCAD, or almost exactly like I would in AutoCAD, 10 feet, comma, 10 feet. And hit the enter or return key. And that's giving me a square, and I can look at it in the top view. Okay. So pretty straightforward, but I've made, and I can check this just like an AutoCAD drawing. If I go into Entity Info and I use the pick arrow and I pick one of these lines, it comes back and tells me what layer it's on and then its length of 10 feet. If I click on the surface, it tells me its layer and that it's 100 square feet. So does everyone see that? It's exactly 100 square feet. It's not kind of, sort of, it is 100 square feet. So this is a lot like the properties box that you have in AutoCAD. So I want to make this into a low box, a little podium. So I'm going to pull this up. I'm going to go over this and I'm going to start pulling it and I'm going to type 36, or I could type 3 feet. I'm going to turn my shadows on. I like having the shadows on, if at all possible. It just makes things look more real, more three-dimensional. If you get a very complex model, like we wound up, once we put all the furniture in the last case study, things really slowed down. But when the model is relatively simple, you don't really have to worry about shadows bogging it down. And I find them very helpful to see what's in front of each other, what's in 3 dimensions. So I want to copy this box. I've worked so hard on it. And I'm going to click 3 times. If I click on it, on any part of it 3 times, once selects the surface, 2 times is the surface and any adjacent edges, and 3 times, 3 clicks, 1, 2, 3, is all connected surfaces. And basically, SketchUp is composed of edges and surfaces, and that's about it. So now I'm going to do a copy, which is a subset of the move tool. And I'm going to copy, and I want to make 3 of these. So I'm going to start with the move tool. I'm going to tap the Option key. Try that again. And I'm going to pull this over 15 feet. I'm going to type 15 feet. And then I'm going to, before I leave, this is how to do a simple array or multiple copies. I'm going to type 3x. And I'm going to do camera zoom extents. And so there they are, 3 low boxes. Okay, so I'm going to now manipulate these boxes. So one of the things that I want to do, actually only one of the case studies has a stair, but we're going to go over making stairs because it's kind of useful for future reference. And there's a good way to make stairs. There's 2 good ways of making stairs in SketchUp. And then there's other less desirable ways. So I'm going to do a very simple stair first. So I'll leave this first one alone, and I'll start working on this guy here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to get the pencil or line tool, and I'm going to draw a line from this endpoint up. And I'm going to draw it up as a riser 6. And then I'm going to go over, and we can't see it because it's overlaying a line, and I'm going to go over 12. And then I'm going to go up another 6 and back 12. Now this would get really tedious to keep doing this, but what I can do is I can copy the lines that I've drawn. And so I'm going to take this line here, hold down the Shift key, this line here, this line here, this line here. And I am going to start to move copy. And I am going to, again, since I want to copy, I'm going to hold down the Option key or Alt key. And I'm going to type 2x. Okay? So I made that look really, really easy. Maybe too easy. Was it too easy? Life could be too easy. But I've now actually divided this 3-foot box so that I have 2 surfaces. And what I can do now is I can push-pull this guy out, and I'm going to pull it out 36. And there I have a stair. So that's the easy way of making a stair. You draw its profile. After a while, you stop making all of those copies, and then you just pull it up, pull it out. Would anyone like to see me repeat doing that? I'm always welcome to do welcome a rewind and a repeat. No? Everyone's got it?
No, yes. Do it again, please.
Yes,
Thank you.
I'll do it again. And this time play along with me. I'll do one. I'll put, oh, let me just do it on the one next to it. So we see what we want to wind up with. And here, so I'm going to zoom in. Huh. Oh, right. Yes, that's correct. Okay. So I draw a line from here up 6 inches. And we can't see it, unfortunately, but it's there. And then I go snap to its endpoint, and then I go over 12. And then I go up again, and I'm making sure I'm going in the blue axis, 6. And then I'll go over 12 again. Okay. And I could keep doing that, 6 and 12 and 6 and 12. It gets really tedious. I would much rather copy this. So I'm going to pick this line. I'm going to hold down the Shift key to add these selections. And then I'm going to go to the Copy Move tool. I'm going to tap the Option or Alt key. And I am going to type 2x. Okay, and oops, let me see. There it is. So I'm going to do something a little fancier this time, because that's how I am. Fancy. Fancy. Okay, so I'm going to do a little thing with the offset tool. And I'm going to grab this, and I'm going to offset this to create a stair, a lot like the stair that is in the yard house. I'm going to offset it 2 inches. And then I'm going to push-pull. Whoops, why is that not cooperating? Come on. Here we go, push-pull. I'll just do a little divide there. Push-pull. Okay. All right. So this is just a little variation on this guy. I just did a little offset because I didn't want to do the exact same thing again and get everyone bored. So that's not, I pat myself on the back. That's a pretty good stair, all things considered. But we're not done yet. There's more. Okay. So these are ways that of building a stair in, or creating a stair in SketchUp that are ideal, relatively ideal. And then we're doing a straight run. I'll show you when to do some things when it kind of curves, but that's a little trickier. Okay, so what I want to do, all of you folks are experienced in turning things into components. I'm going to turn this box over here into a component because I want the stairs to not stick to the side of the box. And that's, remember, we make something into a component, that stops things from being sticky. So I'm going to triple click. I'm going to hit my right mouse button, and I'm going to make it a component. And I'm brilliantly going to call it box. Make sure replace selection with component is checked, and hit create. It's going to look about the same. In fact, the only difference, particularly when I make this into a box, is when I click on anything, it all highlights as one. So I'm going to repeat. Let me just pan over. And zoom in. Okay, so I want to create now a really cool cantilevered stair. Architects love this, particularly mid-century, a stair that just projects out from the wall with no riser, it's cantilevered out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start by drawing a line down at this corner. I'm going to go up again, 6 inches. I'm going to go, make sure that actually is on there. I'm going to go back 12. I'm going to go down 2. And I'm going to come back here. And that's created a surface. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to push pull this out. Okay, so a cantilevered stair. It's actually looking a little bit thick, but I'll play around with it a little bit later. I'm going to turn this into a component as well. You may think Stern here, I love components. I love making things into components. Anything that repeats, anything you want to be a discrete object, you want to make it into a component in SketchUp so you can manipulate it and manage it. And this is going to be a particular advantage with this guy because the stair, we're going to make changes to the stair, little refinements to it after we've put it in place. So I'm going to select everything. I'm going to make it a component. I am going to call it tread 1. Create. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy that and let me put in, I've forgotten if I think I need 6x. I could be wrong. I can always delete the extras. Yeah, I have 1 extra. Oh, well, that's easy to get rid of. Okay, so there are a couple things. So I worked in an architect's office where we had stairs like this that took us down to the basement drafting room. Scared the heck out of me because I always was worried about my foot going through the open riser. So we want to do something to prevent that from happening. Okay, and what's nice is I can change, this is the beauty of components. I can change one of them and they'll all change. So I'm going to take this one component, this one step here. I'm going to double click it. It's going to open up. Everything else is going to get pale. I'm going to push pull this guy back 1 inch. And then I am going to draw a line here. And notice that line appeared on all these other guys. And then I'm going to push pull up. And I'm going to push pull that up at least 2 inches. Okay, so now I get the beauty of an open riser without my being scared of running my foot through and breaking my ankle. Okay? So, but there's more. Actually, when you do a cantilevered stair like this, and for those of you with taking David's course in physics, is actually as the cantilever goes out, it can and should get thinner. So I'm just going to manipulate this guy here. And let me get in, and I'm going to move this up. There. So I now have a really groovy set of stairs. Okay, now the one problem is at the top here, this is kind of a very short distance to turn around. So I want to take this guy, click on it. I want to keep it a component, but I want to make it unique. And so this now makes it a separate component, and I'm going to scale it. Use the scale tool. And put a factor of 2. So that gives me a nice landing at the top. You can see, though, that it also made this thicker. Okay, a couple other things. So this is, not that I say your stair should look like this. This is the ideal way to make a stair in SketchUp, what I just did here. Make each riser and tread unit a component. And then you can manipulate them and you can do all kinds of things with them. I mean, so I could, and the other thing I can do is I can apply materials because they're components. So if I apply a material, if I go in and I edit, I'm going to pick a nice orange. And if I just, this is the kind of cool thing about components. If I don't double click on it, I can color one individually. Let's see, where do I go from here? I go to a deep red. Okay, kind of groovy. So that's, I didn't double click on it, but if you just click on a component and then you apply a material to it, it'll apply it to all surfaces of that component. Now, what I wanted to show you is that if I double click the component and add the color, then it would go to all of the components. I can't undo what I've just done here. I really like the way it looks. Maybe it's because I've been planning the color and lighting course. So there you go with a little sample of bringing some color into SketchUp. Okay, so different ways of making a step. All right. Any questions about that? Steps, components, what else I might need to do with this? I didn't put it in a handrail. We'll get to that a little bit later. Okay, so I now want to go over the so-called follow me tool.
Oh, wait, Professor, I have a question.
Yes.
Are these stairs within the guidelines of like what official stairs would be?
Well, the one change I have to make is that there has to be a nosing that has to project out. So a last edit that I should do to this guy, oops, is I'm going to push-pull this out. So these are cantilevered stairs. There's no stringer on the outside. They're all cantilevered off of this inside face. So this is a pretty good, this is about as good as a set of stairs as you're going to get in SketchUp. So that was the one last detail that I really needed. So a partial riser here, I could make it a full riser. I don't know. You see, once you have things as components, it makes it really easy to manipulate this guy. So if I push-pull this up, there. It's a little wacky, but there you go. Stairs. All right. Okay. So I really hope you're doing this along with me. I mean, I'm not requiring you to turn this in or any other pieces, but I'd like you to be doing this at the same time. All right. I want to show you a powerful but sometimes fussy tool. And I'm going to do it on the plainest rectangle I have here in the beginning. So what I want to do is I'm going to create a little bullnose trim that's going to go all the way around this box using the Follow Me tool. I like keeping the scale figure. I'm going to go around the back so he's not blocking my view. And I am going to do a 3-point arc. 1, 2, and I want to make sure not on the red axis, on the green axis. Come on, it's sticking to the side. I don't want it to do that. Yeah, half circle is what I want. Okay, and then if I want, and this could be a much more complex profile. I could have done it here with the stair. I could try it. I wanted to do it on something simple first. I want this to go around like a trim piece all around the top of this box. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use what's called the Follow Me tool, which extrudes surfaces along a path. And I'm going to just go around the top of this. And voila. So there's a little bullnose trim around the top of this. I'll do that again. I like repeating things because, to show you, but you should also try doing it yourself. Let's try something a little more complicated. And I'm not sure if this is going to work, but I like to take some risks. So I'm going to do it down here. And I'm going to try the Follow Me tool. Okay, done. Pretty cool. So this is where if you want a shape to go along a complex path, you use this, you create a profile and you extrude it along a path. Whereas the old extrude is just the push-pull tool, this guy. But with the follow me tool, it actually will follow a complex path for you. And the shape can be complex. It can get a little tricky. Let me just show you another example. You don't have to do this, but I'm going to make this into an amphitheater. Okay, and this is one where I have to pray a little bit that it's going to work. When I start following a curved path, it gets a little tricky. And I'm going to use the push-pull tool. Okay. It did a little, I lost my face. I'm going to have to repair that. But look at what I did. Pretty groovy, I think. I want to get, what I want to do today, even though actually the projects you have are very rectilinear, what I'm really hoping is that you can apply this, maybe not necessarily so much in this class, but that you can apply this when you start thinking about your designs for studio. That you're not confined to things all being boxy and rectilinear, that you can how you can work really optimally with SketchUp. SketchUp can't do everything, but it can do a lot of stuff. So here it's a little distorted, but I'm relatively pleased with that. So that's the follow me tool. And let me see where we might want to use it is for a railing. And 30. Okay, let's see if I can get this to work. This is always, these handrails are a little tricky. So I'm going to do a circle. And let's see if this is going to work for me. It may or may not. Follow me. There. And there I have a railing for my stair. So we're keeping up to code here. So you can see how it's frustrating to use, but the Follow Me tool is a really powerful tool. I'm showing you all the really power tools, the things that we didn't really go over and may not go over necessarily to realize your projects for this class, but for you to be aware of, you know, if you're confronted with a particular situation, this is how you would use SketchUp. Fair enough? Clear so far? Okay. So the main tools that we've looked at were making components, and then this guy, the so-called Follow Me tool, which is basically extrusion along a path. And the path can be complexly curving, it can be angled, or it can just be around an edge, like this guy or this guy here. So far so good?
I'm following.
Okay, well that's good. I don't want to lose anyone. Anyway, so you know, I have like a couple things. Like I get on a soapbox a little bit about SketchUp because it's easy to use for the most part, not all the time. People think, oh well, you know, it is a little limited. But number one, you can be super precise in SketchUp if you want to be. There's usually a place to input in distances down here in a little dialog box so that you can be as precise as you are in AutoCAD. So if precision is your goal, you do not, and I repeat, you don't need to work things out in AutoCAD first and then bring them in. What we're doing in this course is because we have an existing building, the most expedient way of doing it is to trace it in AutoCAD, bring it in as an AutoCAD drawing, and work over that. But you can also, people think, oh, SketchUp just does boxy stuff. But you can do curves. You know, you can't do super complicated curves, but you can begin to do this kind of stuff. And lastly, you can do something intricate like make a really decent stair using SketchUp, using components and drawing the different elements. So I wanted to give you that. Now it's time to play. Okay, so I'm going to go and I'm going to go to my, I'm going to get rid of colors. Slightly different here. Components. And I'm going to go to box. Just drag a box in here. There's not a lot, there should be, yeah, there we go. Here's Chris, the scale figure. And I usually eliminate the scale figures only at the very end. One of the problems I find with any kind of computer modeling software is it's very hard to get scale. I found this, I've been trying to learn Rhinoceros, which is much more complex, more advanced, complexly curving software, but I'm always having trouble with scale when I use that, whereas just adding these little scale figures really helps. Okay, so I can do stuff. I'm going to go over the rotate tool. So I'm going to take this guy, I'm going to rotate this box onto its side. And that's a little tricky. Rotating anything in 3D in a computer modeling program is difficult, particularly compared to the real world, picking up something and turning it on its side. So I'm going to get the rotate tool. And it's going to flip around. There it is. This is the axis that I want on the red axis. And I'm going to click here. And I'm going to go out on the green axis. And then I'm going to start to turn it. and it'll lock in at 90 degrees. Okay? Would you like to see a repeat of that? How to rotate something? I made it look really easy. I guarantee rotate is one of the things that's going to drive you crazy in SketchUp. It's real easy to rotate a box. It's much more difficult to rotate, like rotating this guy, that would be hard because it's hard, like I could do it around this edge, but so no problem with rotating. Okay,
I can
excellent.
see it one more time.
Well, we can always do it again. So edit, let's undo the rotate. Let's do it again. So this is the little tricky part, this kind of protractor thing, it kind of flips around a little bit. You have to get it oriented on the axis you want. So I click once, then I click a direction for the axis, which happens to be off in green. And then I start to turn this. And fortunately, it's turning at 90 degrees. So it'll lock in when I've gotten it 90 degrees. I could keep going. And it would lock in again at 180. So it's like a polar snap. But here, this is what I want. Okay.
How do we know what's the correct axis point? Like it's usually the red axis point, or?
It depends which you want to flip it around. It's always the axis that you want to turn it around. In this case, I wanted to turn it, the pivot of it was on the red axis. You see, here's the red axis right here shooting through this. And that was the place that I wanted to rotate it on. Okay.
So technically the lines on the bottom technically show us.
Yeah. And basically, let's go here, top view. Green is up, down, red is left, right, and blue is straight up in the air. I'll rotate it around another axis just to show you how to do that. And I guarantee there are a couple things. The follow me tool is going to be aggravating when you actually try to use it. Stern here makes it look really easy. And the rotate tool is also going to make you, it's going to go the wrong way. There's always the undo. So I'm going to now turn it and I'm going to pivot it around the blue axis. So I'm going to hit rotate. I've already selected the object. The protractor is blue in color. That means we're rotating around the blue axis. I'm going to come out here and I'm going to turn this and I'm actually going to turn it, oh, it's snapping at 30 degrees. I'm going to turn it 45 degrees by typing it. There. And let's just take a look at it in top view. There, 45, it's turned at 45 degrees. Just because I could. I can put it to any element, So that's a little bit about rotation, but I want to show you that it gets actually a lot more interesting. I don't know how useful this next maneuver is, but I'm going to open up the component. I'm actually going to make it unique. I'm going to open this up. I'm going to double click the top. I'm going to do a rotate. And I create an instant Sierra center. So I can start to twist this rectangle or this box. Now, what practical use this has, I'm not quite sure. I can only rotate it so much, so I'm going to rotate this 45. Okay. It's done some very strange things. All right. So I can rotate a piece of this if I want to. All right, I want to do now, we haven't done circles really. I want to go over circles and cylinders and ellipses.
It's going on 3 o'clock. Do you want to take a break?
Let's take a 10-minute break.
You're doing all the work, Michael. So it's
Okay,
your
I'm
call.
on a roll, but let's take a moment.
Okay.
All right,
Say 5 after or
5 after.
okay.
Okay. So yeah, I just wanted to make sure before I started up again if there were any other questions.
I was just wondering in SketchUp, are you going to cover any more regarding like styles and printing styles? Or did you do enough of that for the first one? I'm just wondering.
No, I think I should go over styles, although really there are styles you can use in SketchUp, but for our purposes, particularly to work on them in Photoshop,
Mm-hmm.
you're only going to change a few things. SketchUp can do, SketchUp is a non-photorealistic tool. And that's why we need some other software if we want to get photorealistic renderings. That makes it easy and fast and smooth, but that also takes away a big thing that and what they did was they said, well, it'll look like, it's called SketchUp. It'll look like a hand sketch. That was the notion. It was to make computer modeling as easy as architects back in the day would draw a sketch on a napkin or a little piece of paper. And there's a lot about it, I don't think very well, mimicking hand drawing. And I can show you some styles today. But I think for most of our purposes, that we're going to want a really, since we're going to run it through Photoshop one way or another,
Mm-hmm.
that's where we're really going to add the interest. But we can't, there are things we can do in SketchUp itself. And
Yeah.
this example I'm working on is a nice one to show styles off.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not myself, I'm not clear on all the outputs, like what it could be, what it should be.
Yeah, for the most part, it's like, it's really, I had, in the day when I was teaching this, I had some really nice, when we were doing very schematic designs, it was kind of nice to do it super unphotorealistic with the lines all kind of jaggy and curvy and vague. And I thought that looked really good. But, it's really, but I'd like to show you styles.
Yeah, I like that. I like that look.
Yeah, I do too. I just, the problem I have a little bit, it's like my problem when I get into a car and the dashboard has fake wood grain.
Yeah.
And it's really in your face. Like when it's like plastic, it's like, no, you're plastic. Don't try to look like you're wood. I also have a problem like a computer graphic at a certain point kind of irritates me if it's trying to look like it's something drawn by hand.
Yeah, sure.
It's like, I don't like typically the typefaces that imitate like hand lettering.
Mm-hmm.
Those, it's just, there's something, and it's my modernist background, there's something that's slightly, this is my little diatribe, slightly dishonest about it. Like the fake wood grain in your car. It's like, just, it's plastic, make it look like plastic. Let's be done with it. If it's,
Why are we even having this conversation? Really?
but people want, it looks classy. I don't know.
I don't know.
Anyway, so I will, that would be a good thing to wrap up with his styles. So we shall do that. Okay, and then really there were only a few more things that I wanted to cover that were just to sort of expand the possibilities of what you could do in SketchUp. So
You did start recording. I'm sorry, I forgot.
I did start recording.
Okay. I'll turn off my.
Okay, so we have this back. Let me just do a quick zoom extents. So it's a little playground, kind of. Okay, so circles. So the circle tool, we learned last time around that the one thing, the variable, a circle tool is really just, it's really a polygon with a lot of sides to it. Right now, the default is 24 sides. If I make a fairly big circle, you can pretty easily see the edges, right? There's an edge, edge. If I want it to look smooth, which we wanted that key element, that circular opening in the roof at the courtyard in the visitor center in the first project, is I would start the circle tool. And sides, I would say 64. And you should see how that circle, if I go, let me go to a top view. That circle, whoops. So that outer circle, you can really see the edges. The inner circle, that's 24 sides. The inner circle with 64 sides looks really smooth. Okay. So what I want to do now is I want to make this elliptical. And I'm going to use my scale tool. That's how I get an ellipse if you need to do one. So that's now an elliptical shape. I'm going to push-pull this up. Now, it comes out nice and smooth as a cylinder. So this is how you create a cylinder. And now I can take this top and I can scale it. What? Well, that's about as far as I. So it gives us kind of a cone. I mean, there's another way if you actually had to build a cone, you might do it differently. And then I can rotate this. So again, although there's some strange things to this as I've twisted this, is you can get out of everything being boxy in SketchUp. There's no reason that your SketchUp designs have to be boxes or things that look like the Cirrus Center, you know, rectangle, you know, odd shapes like these guys.
Could we kind of use the same technique with the like rectangle to do the pitched roof on the hut?
Well, really, the best way of doing a pitched roof, in that case, because it's rather complex, we're going to extrude the section rather than, I mean, the easy pitched roof is to do this. Just draw. Come on. Oops. Oh, that's interesting, but that's not what I wanted. Select it. So the easy way of doing a pitched roof is to bisect it like this, and then use the move tool and pull it straight up. There are other ways of doing a pitched roof, but that's probably the easiest way to do it. But actually what we're going to do, because of the trusses, let me just take this, offset it. And so you begin to see like how you could do a pitched roof. I'm trying to think. Okay, circles, rotating, scaling. I'm just trying to think, what else have I missed here? I'm not going to some of the subsets here. You can do a polygon. You know, here it's by default a hexagon, but I can type in 3 sides and get an equilateral triangle. Polygon is pretty straightforward. I'm just trying to think any of these tools. This guy, we're probably the people that are going to use this freehand tool are when we're going to do the section through the place in Mexico. So let me just show what that would be like. Plain old rectangle. Push, pull this up. And we would simplify it a little bit. And I would draw, come on. Like that. And then I would push, pull this guy out. There. So that's nice for like a hillside where we can basically treat it as one extrusion. So that'll work. The folks that will be doing this are the ones with the site that's on a hillside in the project in Mexico. So that's about the only time I use this freehand tool. Let me show you something that's a little bit tricky. I'm going to just save everything before I do this. File, save. And I'm just... So there's a tool. Let me go to top view. So pretty weird. All kinds of strange things. Is if you want to do softly curving contours, there is something, and that's why I saved the file, because it can make your SketchUp file crash, is draw sandbox from scratch. There's also a way of importing contours, but it's very laborious. And I am going to make grid spacing. Okay. So that just looks like a grid, but it actually is a series of polygons that can be maneuvered, tools. I have to be very careful with Sandbox because it can really freeze up the program. So maybe I just show you and you know it's there, but don't do it. It's right now, it's not responding to me. Come on. What? Yeah, oh, I see. I have to change the radius. To open this up, and I go into, I have to double click, I go into Sandbox. So you can, with this tool, you can create, relatively complex looking topography. Not very well, but, for doing kind of curved shapes. If I just do a move, tools, Sandbox, smooth. So you get that that's a possibility. That's something that you can do. And that's available to you. You have to go under Draw, Sandbox, and Tools, Sandbox. Actually, I could bring up that toolbar. Customize toolbar. Come on, customize toolbar. And let me see. Now, this is a Mac thing. The Mac allows you a little more customization of your toolbars. I don't know why the Windows version doesn't. And I can change the radius. Let's make it. So this is just more of like, yeah, SketchUp can do more than boxes. Not easily, but it can do these things. I can also, a couple little tools that are helpful is some that are fairly useless, but I can measure. Like if I want to get, unfortunately, it also creates a guideline, which I don't want. So this little tool here, the tape measure tool, usually I don't like to make those guidelines. I make actual physical lines as a guideline. And instead, I just have to hold down the Option key so it doesn't create grid lines. So I just want to get a measurement from here to here. Yeah, 30 feet. Or a measure from here to here. So you can take off measurements pretty accurately. So this is part of my diatribe, my piece. SketchUp can be precise. SketchUp can do curves. It doesn't just do rectilinear shapes or prismatic shapes. It can really do almost anything you like within some limits. And it is, my cat is interrupting my thought. Let's see. Trying to think what else I wanted to say about this.
Can I ask about
Mhm. David?
killer? How much rendering is it actually worth? Like applying materials and rendering something in SketchUp?
It's worth doing. It's actually worth it because if you plug in another rendering tool, like Lumion, it needs to have different materials to understand like which way. So you could completely swap out the materials, but it's good to like apply materials in this. Like if there's a wood floor on the top of these guys, it would be nice to put a wood floor on it. And you can always in the rendering program completely change the way that wood floor displays.
Mm-hmm.
So as far as it looking good in SketchUp, that deck looked really good, right? In the project one.
Yeah, that's
Or look good. Since I did that mostly myself. But yeah, you want to put different materials in place so that even if I don't render this as a rainbow, but I want each of these to be a different material when I render them, because they're painted in different colors, I can switch the rendering, and I could probably do a demonstration of that. I might even take this whole thing and plug it into Kirkathea, but I'm not going to do that just yet. Let's see. Okay, the styles. And I should also probably go over sun angles too. So you have a couple options as far as the, there are some preset styles. Let's see, that's taking a moment to come up. That doesn't look very good. Never mind. Usually I don't play so much with these. So I'm going to go to edit. And I can make it look like these are a little more hand drawn. There's a little jitter that was added. I can make the extensions, let's make them 5. So you see how this is looking more like a hand drawn, there's some little extensions going on here. It's still kind of subtle. Endpoints. Let's do extensions 10. So you see how these are now looking like they're going beyond. That's like if you was more like a hand-drawn sketch, a really quick sketch. For some reason that got turned on. Let me turn that off. So you see how this now looks a lot more like it's a hand drawing? And that's kind of, those are kind of the styles that come in SketchUp. Let's see, depth cube. Yeah.
That I think would be appropriate to print out and hit it with a little marker if you're about to pin
Yeah.
it on the wall, or drop it in Photoshop and add some quick colors too.
Yeah.
Something
You
kind of
absolutely
a looser sketch.
Yeah. So those are the things that you would, so this kind of imitates it being done by hand. And yeah, that can look really good. I mean, this is also a brief story, but sometimes people really like the more tentative look. Like when it's all, like, let me just go back. Oh, I have to undo all the edits.
I'm thinking about like the first project and some of the group's renderings. You know, as much as I really liked them, like a lot of it felt like broad expanse of like single lines coming out of SketchUp, like big, like, yeah, just like too much of the same. Talking about the lack of line weights and stuff. So maybe that little style maybe distracts me a little bit from that issue.
Yeah, I mean, that will definitely take the uniformity out.
Yeah.
So here I'm, bringing these back in. Let me make those smaller. Jitter. I don't know why I can't adjust jitter, but that makes it look like a little shaky. It can look a little strange on curves, but look at it as yet another option that you have. So this non-photorealistic look may be something that you want for a notion of something more conceptual. So I did this. I went to, let me just do a zoom all again. So I've seen this done very effectively too, particularly if you combine it with something like a marker or you do some stuff in Photoshop with it. It'll get a little kludgy because it doesn't do a hierarchy here. Like, every overstrike is the same amount. It's not, let me just turn the jitter off.
It's nice to see a little variety in the portfolios, isn't it? Not too much variety, but but definitely sometimes we see the same thing in the portfolio. So experimenting with little styles from all the different programs, I think, changes it up a little bit without getting crazy. But
no, we don't want to go crazy with this, but you can, so folks see what you can do with this, so it can look a lot more schematic if you want it to, a lot more like a hand sketch without actually the laboriousness of going over with a hand sketch. The little story I had back a long time ago when I was first working in an office with CAD, and I was working on stores. They're no longer in existence. They got bought out by the Discovery Channel. Nature Company stores, they were really big in the 80s and 90s. So maybe before some people's time, but nice, like rocks and gems and minerals and nature books. And I was meeting with the vice president in charge of the store design. And we had this CAD plan for him. And we even had some perspectives in 3D that were really cold. And he hated it because everything looked really cold, really fixed. And he was like, what are you, he was like really pissed off. And I realized he was having trouble with like it being so pristine. So this is the default view. I actually took the plan, got a big piece of tracing paper, and went over it with a thick pencil really fast. Made a few small changes, which he wanted, and brought it back, and he was instantly happy with it. Because it didn't look like everything was done and boring and fixed and dry, and it can really help. So these little touches can make a big difference. And you can tweak them. If you want this to be, oops. So here, if we don't want it to have any sky, I just turned the sky off. I'll turn it back on again. Turn ground on. I can also make ground any color I like. There. Maybe not. I can also make the sky whatever color I want. So sky is right now kind of gray. Come on, sky. Oh, okay. I want to make it a very blue sky. There. So it gives you a lot of options as to how you display what you're working with. You also can easily change the shadows to a particular time of day and time of year, or just to make them more complementary, like to emphasize your design more. Let's see, this guy. No, I don't like to do watermarks. You could put photos in the background that are a little dorky. Better done in Photoshop. So edges, back edges. No, I don't want to see back edges. Depth Q, I do want to see. Jitter. Okay, so it gives you a slightly different look. Okay, so let me save this. And so when I go into another outside renderer, it's really important that I apply as many different materials as possible. Okay, let's just see here. Okay, file, save, file, close. Okay. So with the remaining time, I'd like to show you a really quick essay in using renderings. But I completely agree with David that for the right situation and presentation and to mix things up a little bit, that you do want to consider different styles coming out of SketchUp. You only have so much control over them, but it can look really good to not have, you know, those cold, boring, straight, undifferentiated lines. So what I thought I would do is, well, we could go either way from here. Look at rendering this, or we could, what was I about to say?
Discuss CAD work.
CAD work.
Who has CAD questions? How many?
Yeah,
So
because this is the time.
Yeah, so if we say, and just confirming, Michael, so last submission was kind of crazy. We got the DWG files, we got the PDFs, and we got the PNGs. Okay, that's utter confusion. So how about we say Thursday for the DWG files? Michael's going to look at those for SketchUp, and then Sunday is a finished PDF with everything in the viewports, everything furniture in by Sunday. We'll talk more about it on Thursday, but Thursday submission should be a DWG, the actual CAD file. And Michael's going to approve, hopefully approve that you're ready to go on to SketchUp. That's the big goal.
That's to get my seal of approval, my double thumbs up.
Does anybody have CAD questions now, or do you want to see a little Lumion work?
I had a CAD question because I finished pretty much tracing everything, but I kind of wanted to go over what I can approve on.
Okay, and Tatiana, did you have CAD?
Well, yeah, actually, it wasn't a problem with CAD itself. It was a problem just in my paper space creating a second viewport.
Yeah.
Simple thing, but for some reason that was my, like, I finished everything else, and that was the thing I couldn't figure out.
Well, one short answer is copy the first to the viewports.
Yeah, the viewport can actually be
Yeah, but
copy.
yeah.
Okay.
What do you think, Michael? You want to take a break and get back to Lumion, or do you feel like I could host some CAD questions and you could be done if you're.
Although I don't want to cut off David or anything, Leilani, your drawings were really good as far as what you had done for the yard house. I mean, if you have questions, there was just maybe a little more differentiation of line weight that, you know, might have helped, but the drawings were very good. But, you know, if you have questions, I don't want to cut you off at all.
Yeah, I could put it on the screen after. Does anybody else have CAD questions? They want to put their work on the screen, or me to put it on the screen? Like line weights we could talk more about on Thursday. Hatches we'll talk about on Thursday. So we could take a slower look on Thursday, but if anybody's hung up on anything, if anything's, you know, holding you up, then by all means we could talk about it today. Let me put Lelanie's on the screen real quickly just to talk about hers, since it is so close. Could you see it now?
Yes.
All right, so she got pretty far along. So yes, onto line weights, and so I don't have the original stuff, but when we zoom in, so all dark lines should be concluded, right? Nothing. So they're all closed circuits. So I wouldn't have these open here, here, here. This is a wall that we cut through. This is a roof, or this is the second floor. So this, no. So this is a wall below, right? If I remember correctly.
Wall below. And
this is the roof edge. So the roof edge should be darker than the wall below. And you might need a fourth layer, because really the darkest thing is still the walls, followed by the roof edge, followed by this. You know, I'd have to go back to the photos, but I suspect that this is a foot or two or something below that roof. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah,
or
so
nearly even with the roof.
Close, probably, but still, you just want to show that it's different. It really, if it's 6 inches or 6 feet, I think a little differentiation helps. So the walls are the darkest, followed by roof edges around these hatched parts. If these are hatches, which I guess they are, we have to center them.
Mhm.
Yeah, we'll have to look at the photos and we can look more carefully next class, but for everybody, it's definitely good to look. So dash lines for the doors. So here, so that's like a double wall right there. So I would cut out here and here, and then I would make the inside one medium. So I do dark walls where they're in what you call habitable spaces, or where I could see them really. That's if it's a wall on both sides, then I go with the dark line. Here it's like an internal vent, a vertical air conditioner or something going through there. So I would make that a medium line, because when we're walking around, we can't see those walls. That's an internal wall. That's one way I think about it. And also that when they get so close together, they get mushy. So that's the other important reason. In some circumstances, you're gonna have two dark lines that are super close to each other. And then just for a little diversity and a little not ending up with mushy single lines. So complete those roof edges. Yeah, so that's pretty good. So now we look at the walls, nice dark continuous circuits all the way around. That's very dark. So not dark. So we have some more walls that have to become dark. That line looks crooked. Line there that looks a little wonky. And then again, right, this is cabinet. This is up at waist level, and this single line is just a line on the floor, I believe.
Changing the paving.
The change in the paving.
Yeah.
So it's on the ground level. So casework that's up at, casework and furniture should be medium. Stairs should be medium. So the outside of this island would be medium. The stuff inside could be light, the way it is. But bring the casework up to waist level. We need to get some little mullions in the.
It's actually one big sheet of plate glass.
Oh, is it? Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
we just
Oh, so
we
there
need
was
something
just
at the door. We need something
The
at
door and the
Yeah.
edge here. Yeah. The door there.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's close. So you're in the fine tuning stage. It's a good place to be. So I don't remember what it is. So I'm trying to figure it out. So I don't know I'm not sure why there's 3 dark lines here. So this looks like the roof where I could walk on it. You're telling me that this is a ceiling and that this middle is something inside the structure. If that's the case, then that would be medium, and same with this. So I don't understand why this dark line is down here and then this dark line is inside. So these inside lines for everybody should be medium if they belong there at all.
Yeah, the drawing indicates that there's it's a dropped ceiling. It makes it look like the upper part is the floor or roof slab, and then those lower parts are a dropped ceiling.
So it's like a tray.
Uh,
So this should be the dark part and that should be the light part.
no,
Oh.
the light part.
So this is an actual ceiling.
That's the ceiling, I think.
Okay,
yeah.
so it's a drop. So yeah, I would just make the inside medium. That's what I would say.
And are the windows supposed to stay light on the section next to the stairs and the other one that's next to
Just
that
draw. I would draw them just like you draw them in plan, basically, because it's really, typically windows have a frame around 4 sides, right? So if this is our window, that's our window frame, and then the glass comes in the middle. Any way we cut it, if we cut it this way or we cut it this way, glass is in the middle, frame is on the sides. So, if I draw it this way in plan, and then I turn it into a section, I would just draw it the same way. Most likely it has the same depth.
Mhm.
So unless there's something strangely different, I just kind of rotate everything, take those windows and walls and just turn them on their sides. But in general, they look good. They should have sills again. It always looks odd when glass is sitting on a floor or going into a ceiling. Typically, there's going to be a jamb. This is the jamb, right? The piece that surrounds it, the case that surrounds it, that has a little thickness to it. But otherwise, nice continuous black lines besides those. Good, good. Nice dark ground line. That's too dark. So some lines got piled up on top of each other. This is forward and this is forward. Everything's forward, I think.
No,
Isn't there a little roof there?
maybe that's why we're getting the double dark lines that's showing the cut
Hint of
through a roof.
Yeah.
But that line for the wall should be lighter because that's in the distance.
This one?
Yeah.
Are we inside? Oh, we're inside now. Oh, I see. We're
inside
in.
the courtyard.
We're in the courtyard, so we're pretty much at the circle. So you got to add these. Everybody has to add. So we're here, looking that way. Through where? So we see the sink. We see a door. We're through a skylight. So you have to figure out exactly where we are and put these things in. So they're not showing us where the skylight is, but so what did we say? We see this door. We see the
I think we're
sink.
just right in front where the section is right in front of that island in the beginning of the stair. Right
Doing
there.
pretty well, right there. So we could see the sink. So it's probably right about there. So everybody has to put in their section arrows, definitely. So yeah, just to go back to that point one more time. So therefore, we're cutting through an exterior wall. There's nothing here but a roof overhead.
Right.
All right, so there's a roof overhead that's dark. And remember, we're looking this way, so it's mirrored. And then this is not cut through. And then this line is at a distance. That's what Michael was saying. So dark wall on the right here. This is at a distance. Doors are at a distance. There should be a column here and some sort of a roof structure. So this, we're gonna have to look at pictures and maybe do a little bit better of a job than they did.
I just want to emphasize that this is like not your fault, most of this. This is the vagueness in the drawings.
Yeah.
They left out some detail.
Yeah. But now you haven't inherited it. And when we get to week 15 and you're showing it off to other instructors, you have to be able to explain it. So, you know, it's definitely your little guy now. So understanding what's not right in the drawings, what was misrepresented, where the photographs were taken from, that all is now your chore.
Right, because I was getting confused doing the section and going back to the pictures because I wasn't too sure what to add or what not to add.
Yeah. Does that make sense, what we just ran through?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So you're close. You're at 90%. So just fix up a couple things and then you're on the line weights. So, and then dash lines. So whenever you print, whenever you make PDFs, people are sending in PDFs with the dash lines not worked out. As you make your dash lines, work them out and print properly always. Other questions? Are you okay saving Lumion? I didn't want to take over, but it's always good to talk about this stuff, I think.
No, it's good. I would love, I don't know if there's someone else we could pick on who is
Yeah.
doing the place in Mexico, because those are also equally ambiguous drawings that need some interpretation.
Could always pick on drawings. I just have to find where I store all my drawings. 160.
Pull them out.
I have some here. Well, but I got so many A lot of variety in the, if you look at the hut, I got CAD drawings. That's the problem. I've got Paula's, but it's on. So no more screenshots, no more submissions like this. That was a one-time thing. So we have to make real PDFs. So I do not have a clean PDF of the lounge.
Okay.
I have the hut. Tatiana's hut looks nice from a distance. So windows are still coming. Yeah, so this, what's there looks like it fell into the correct place. It looks neat, but yeah, more work to do. Any questions about the hut? I do have my stuff open too, but nothing to look at with line weights for. Questions?
I have a question. Can you hear me?
Yes.
When you're doing the ceiling for the windows, should they be the same? Should they be displayed the same as like a pillar in the wall? So you know how you had the door, and then the thing next to the door, and then you had the window and this thing next to the window.
Which project are you in?
I'm doing the hut.
The hut. Let me see if I can, let me open up. Oh, so the same one there? This one here? So is it in plan what you're describing?
Yes.
So go one more time?
So you have the door, the front door maybe?
Yeah.
The bottom door, that's the bottom one.
Here?
And there's like I don't really know what to call it, like the framing of the door. Yeah. And then you have the window right next to it.
Oh, here?
Because it's glass. Yeah. Would they be the same? The framing be the same? Or would you display it like a lighter for the window?
Let me have to see the original. Where are you guys? I got way too many windows open. Sorry. Let's see, CAD. Okay, could you see CAD here? Here? Are you looking at CAD?
Yes.
Me right now? Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, is my CAD, can you see my CAD?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
All right, so we are here.
Yeah.
So, yeah, is that a window? Yeah, those must be windows. That's when they're shown differently. Yeah, I would just take this and mirror it right around the corner.
Okay.
So mirror him, and then mirroring on 90 degrees is nice. So right one there, and then 40. Is that 45 degrees? Yeah, on the 45, and that mirrors at 90 degrees.
Uh-huh.
So
You see how you have the framing on the window? But then
where
on the
here?
yeah. Well, on the other side. See,
Here?
So the one in the middle, right? You had the one in the middle, then you had the one in the corner. The corner one
Yeah.
is a lot darker.
Something's
Should it be darker or
darker?
the same? Because it's actually a wall instead of a window. You know what I'm saying?
Where's
You
the
don't see
wall?
it?
This is the wall.
The framing part of it. So like the square is in the window.
Yeah. The framing, these columns right here.
Yeah. Should they all be the same?
Yes, yeah. I treat them as walls unless I go to make a PDF and I do print preview and they're too dark, then maybe if they're too small and they become mushy and they don't look good, then I make them not as dark as the walls. But yes, in general, I treat them like the walls.
Yeah, I gotcha.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Anybody else questions about CAD? All right, I'm going to stop my share. So DWGs for Thursday, what time?
9 a.m.
9 a.m. before class. And then Sunday we'll have PDFs printed. So, oh, so Tatiana, the viewport. So we have to go over that. What was the?
I can figure it out. I was having trouble minimizing, I guess making my viewport smaller and therefore then adding a copy. I'll play with it.
Okay, all right. I'll just quickly put it on the screen so you can see CAD now. So the viewports, I mean, they're just like rectangles. So we just grab them and move their nodes around. They're going to want to snap places, so you could turn the snap off. But that's it, you know. And I always, you know, keep the property box available and then copy and grab. And if you don't get in there and zoom around, they should all stay at standard scale 3/16. Yeah, there are other ways to come up here and find and create viewports, but I just copy things. I don't, there's,
I have a question about the scale.
yeah.
So when I put mine on paper space on the 3/16, it was cutting off a little bit of the stairs. So I went like a scale down. Is that okay? Or it needs to be at 3/16?
Which drawing?
The hat, the same.
But, so what, you're saying that the section and the plan don't agree?
When I had the plan, I went and scaled it like when I was on a paper space. I put the 3/16 of the scale and
No,
it was cutting off like
they-
the stairs a little bit.
They should match. The plan and the section should match and it should be able to fit.
Yeah, no, I'm saying like on the paper space, it wouldn't fit on the 3/16 mine.
But, well, ideally it is 3/16 and they definitely have to match. So if you made one smaller than the other, that's a problem. If they're both at 1/8 inch and they're that small, that's something you could live with. But you know, again, I fit it on mine, so I don't know why you didn't fit it on yours.
Yeah, it was
exactly.
like the one step technically on its side, it wouldn't show.
Okay, we could look at it. We could look at it and squeeze it in, but ideally, they definitely have to be the same size, the same scale, those two pieces.
They're both under the same scale, but I did the plan first and then I just did, I just tried, the other one was okay, but the plan wouldn't.
Yeah, well, then you're going to end up with a smaller file when you open it up in Photoshop, or if you when you open that PDF up, you might have to overcompensate and blow it up a little bit more.
Okay.
Because again, you know, the goal is to get to a 24/36 board, and yeah, and besides that, I think you should be able to fit it in. So, you know, we could look at it together later.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So maximize the 11/17. Anybody else questions? All clear on what's happening? We'll have a list of the final deliverables and a rubric for you soon, and we'll count the classes, which I think we're down to, I don't know, 9 or something. It's crazy. So we're going to come up with a schedule and stick to it. So SketchUp and Photoshop and a finished board before week 15 or during week 15. That's the goal.
I have a quick question in regards to paper space.
Yeah.
When I moved my when I did my viewpoints, it's not showing like black, like the image is still showing like the image in like the different colors that I selected the layers in.
Can you share your screen?
Hold on, let me see.
Does anybody else have any questions? Otherwise, we could cut you loose or stay around to see what Hector's dealing with.
Yeah. I have a quick question.
Is it about CAD?
Can you see my screen?
No, it's about the Tepoztlan one.
Okay, let's do the CAD question first then. Sure.
Okay.
Can y'all see my screen?
Yep.
All right, so this is what I'm talking about here. So I have the drawing. I have the drawing here under like the model when I drew it in here.
Yeah.
I color coded everything. But when I go into my paper space, it's still showing like this. It's not, you know how,
You
is
have
it
to do
supposed
it-
to look like that?
What do you want to see? Black and white
Why did it
lines?
turn around like that?
You want to see black and white lines?
I don't know why it's showing like this paper like that now.
You have to do a print preview to see the line weights and everything. Is that what
So
you're
this
talking
is-
about?
So yeah, so when I go into the page plot, right? Oh wait, no, it's print preview here.
Print, yeah. You should get a preview. So this is Macworld. So you got to get that preview at the bottom left to light up.
How would I do that?
You need to choose a printer.
Print, save as PDF.
Yeah, there you go. AutoCAD, high quality, down one more. Yeah, good. Yeah. Now preview.
He has to do the black and gray scale. I don't know where
Yeah.
that is in the month. That's what
Yeah.
he means, I think.
Alright, so
You should just, yeah. So plot style, go down to plot style, bottom. This is crazy on a Mac. This doesn't look natural. Monochrome.
This month,
Monochrome, yeah.
month.
okay.
One more down.
Oh,
Apply to layout.
Yeah.
To the preview.
Yeah.
That is so weird.
Did he use the template that we were given?
Looks like it.
Kind of. Is this the original template, Hector, or did you start your own?
I started my own. Where's the template? Is that because I try to do that, use the original template from the old
It's on Canvas. Let's look at it together afterwards, okay?
okay.
All right,
Alright.
stop sharing the screen. Paula, what's your question?
Yes, so which one is gonna be the third draw for the Tepoztlán project?
The site plan.
Oh, the side one? Because
Site
there
plan.
are too much pictures of it. Okay. Side plan. Okay, got it. Thank you.
All right.
You're welcome.
Other
Right.
questions? Okay, if you want to stick around, Hector, otherwise you're all free. So DWGs by Thursday at 9. All right. Talk to you soon.
Bye.
Bye.
Yeah, Hector, are you there, Hector?
Yeah, I think I just found the template.
Yeah, I mean,
So I can just move everything over into that template then, right?
yeah, I mean, I can't speak for the Mac part of all this, but yeah, the template's set up. Well, I mean, you still have to set up the viewports, but I would use the template.
Okay.
Yeah.
You just copy and paste everything into that template.
Yeah, you'll have to still configure a little bit, but like the dimension styles, the page setup, a lot of those things are already set up, and I never start with a new drawing when you open up CAD. It's just all crazy, all the units and stuff.
Yeah.
Better just having one template with your layers, and then just always start from there. You could have all your text styles, your text sizes, your dashed lines. Everybody's, you don't have to reinvent the wheel every time you start a new file.
Yeah, I didn't see the template. I went back in there and I just found it. So
Okay.
so yeah, I can move everything over. It should work now because I see all the layers now. It wasn't showing me that before.
Yeah.
All right.
The hard work we do behind the scenes to make it all so seamless for you guys. I don't know if seamless is the word. You have a question, Romina?
for the scale, that it wasn't like I had to do a smaller scale. Should I wait until the next class or?
You could show it. I'll stick around for a minute. Abdullah, you have a question?
Yes, this project, we will make it with SketchUp too, from the inside.
Michael, you would.
Yeah, what we're going to do as much about the inside as we can. I can't, which one are you doing?
The tip was, I don't know.
In Mexico.
Yeah, the Mexican
Yeah, that's
one.
got a fairly simple
lounge.
interior, the lounge. So yeah, we want to have, we're mostly going to have views. It's a little bit like, which I want to talk about on Thursday. A lot of that is about being inside and looking out. So it's going to be a lot about, they're basically a glass box viewing out into the surroundings. So we would want to have at least one view from the interior looking outwards.
Thank you.
All right, Romina, do you want to share?
Yeah, sure.